we would be requesting the petitioner side who hail from Mardan, and their university is Abdul Wali Khan University, Mardan, to open their case before the court.
May it please this honorable court, my name is Bushra Jahangir. I am the learned counsel appearing on behalf of the petitioners, honorable bench, Green Society in the matter of Green Society versus the province of KPK and others. Respected bench, I will be utilizing the first half to establish the facts, address the jurisdiction, and present the arguments on issues number 1, 2, and 4. My co-counsel Amra will utilize the remaining half to conclude the issues 3 and 5. My lord, shall I proceed with the statement of facts, if the court's permit? Referring to the page number of the memorial, page number 7, the statement of facts are that in 2024, KP government approved the Swat Hydropower development project involving large-scale deforestation, river diversion, and community displacement in ecologically sensitive zones. The petitioner alleges the mandatory environmental impact assessment lacked transparency and public consultation, violating the fundamental rights to information and healthy environment. Despite these documented risks of landslides and destroyed livelihoods, the Peshawar High Court dismissed the challenges as a matter of executive policy. Consequently, the Green Earth Society has appealed to this honorable court seeking to suspend the project and enforce constitutional and statutory safeguards. My lord, if the court permits, I shall address this statement of jurisdiction. Shall I? The petitioner, my lord, has approached this honorable court under Article 185, subclause 3 of the Court, Constitution of Islamic Republic of Pakistan, 1973, seeking leave to appeal against the judgment of Peshawar High Court. If the honorable court permits, I shall now proceed with my submissions regarding issue number 1. My lord, we need to realize the essence of this case, which is not constitution versus development. This case has its essence emphasizing the fact that the case and debate is about constitutional development versus the unconstitutional development. My submission for the issue first is that whether Swat Hydropower development project violates a fundamental right to life under the Constitution of Pakistan, for which my submission is respected bench. This project directly violates Article 9 and 9 of the Constitution, while also violating Article 14 and Article 25, which further strengthens violation of right to life. Under Article 9, right to life is not just physical existence, but it also includes right to clean and a healthy environment. I put my reliance on the landmark judgment of Shehla versus Zia versus Wabda, where this honorable court established that right to life encompasses right to live in a clean and unpolluted environment. Today, followed by the 27th Amendment, Article 9A constitutionally reinforces that protection by recognizing this right, which deems it a constitutional concern, not merely an ecological concern, because not only the environment is harmed, but also the fundamental questions have been raised here. Furthermore, honorable bench, Article 14 protects dignity and the sanctity of home. The affected communities are not merely losing land, but they are also losing their social structure, their ancestral connection with the land, their livelihoods, their homes, and compensation alone cannot restore their constitutional dignity, which has been harmed.
टुडे बन रहा है, ये पानी की प्रिजर्वेशन के लिए बन रहा है, एनर्जी के लिए बन रहा है. यू जस्ट सेड शेरा दिया केस के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में और एलाबोरेटिंग द राइट टू लाइफ. तो क्या ये क्लीन वाटर होना, वाटर प्रिजर्वेशन होना, जहाँ पे ऑलरेडी देयर इज स्कैर्सिटी ऑफ वाटर, हमारे पास पानी की बहुत कमी है, तो ये तो फिर राइट टू लाइफ में आता है कि नहीं आता. डैम वाज बीइंग कंस्ट्रक्टेड फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ प्रिजर्वेशन ऑफ वाटर एंड प्रोविजन ऑफ एनर्जी टू द सिटीजन.
That concern, my lord, is central to our submission. Yes, it comes under the Article 9, right to life, and as well as the dignity. But we are establishing our grounds that where displacement has occurred, there is energy production, there's going to be electricity, there's going to be dam construction. However, we see that the effects are at large. There is going to be landslide risks, there's going to be deforestation, the wildlife habitat is going to be harmed, and there are a lot more harms that are at the cost of all these lives, which are being affected. Therefore, we establish and we submit to the court that right to life has been violated under those grounds.
लेकिन जो बेनिफिट मिलेंगे जो बेनिफिट्स मिलेंगे वो बेनिफिट्स भी तो पब्लिक एट लार्ज हो जाएंगे। बिजली भी पब्लिक एट लार्ज यूज़ करेगी, जो पानी प्रिजर्व होगा ड्रिंकिंग वाटर वो भी पब्लिक एट लार्ज यूज़ करेगा। तो इन दोनों को कैसे बैलेंस किया जाए?
Yes, Your Honor. However, in this case, once again we see that Swat Hydropower Development Project, it is benefiting at a provincial as well as a national level. But under Article 25 we see, Article 25 of the Constitution of Pakistan guarantees that there must be equality before law and equal protection of the law. The benefits are being generalized.
इसी कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर दिया था गवर्नमेंट्स को कि आप वाटर प्रिजर्वेशन के प्रोजेक्ट इनिशिएट करें। तो वो जो पिछली हमारी जजमेंट है उसका फिर क्या होगा? हमने तो पहले ही कहा था कि आप डैम बनाएं, वाटर प्रिजर्व करें, एनर्जी की क्लीन और सस्टेनेबल एनर्जी प्रोजेक्ट्स बनाएं। उस जजमेंट का फिर क्या होगा?
Yes, my lord, precisely that's true. However, in that judgment, it was also addressed that assessment of the great project and every sufficient mitigation measure was conducted. The project was not invalidated completely. However, there were a lot of measures taken by the government in the case which I have also submitted. In that case, we see that there were a lot of measures, there were assessments. There were a lot of other things as well which were conducted to ensure that the damage was mitigated, and there was public participation as well, which will be addressed in my next issue. Proceeding with my issue number 2, which is whether failure to conduct a transparent and participatory environmental impact assessment invalidates a project approval. Respected bench, under Section 12 of the Pakistan Environmental Protection Act 1997 and Section 13 of KP Environmental Protection Act 2014, subclause number 3, a valid EIA is a legal requirement which has to be not defective at all. If that is defective in itself, the approval is ultra vires. The facts from the case clearly states that EIA was conducted without meaningful participation, without public consultation. People of Swat were kept in the dark, and without public consultation, we cannot fix the project. All the shortcomings and all those things cannot be addressed.
लेकिन कौंसल मुझे ये बताएं कि जो प्रिंसिपल ऑफ पॉलिसी है स्टेट की, उसको क्या जुडिशली इन्फोर्स कर सकती है इंटरफेरेंस करके? जबकि ऑलरेडी इसी कोर्ट ने डिसीजंस दिए हैं कि गवर्नमेंट जो है, जिस तरह लगने कॉलीग ने भी नहीं कहा कि एनर्जी क्राइसिस इतने ज़्यादा है, वाटर क्राइसिस इतने ज़्यादा हैं और क्लाइमेट चेंज का इतना इफेक्ट हो रहा है, तो अगर हम डैम नहीं बनाएंगे तो पानी भी ज़ाया हो जाएगा। और अगर एक गवर्नमेंट प्रोजेक्ट बना रही है और अगर उसमें जो लोग इफ़ेक्ट हो रहे हैं उनको वो कंपनसेट भी कर रही है और गवर्नमेंट एक पॉलिसी भी बनाई है, तो क्या जुडिशरी इस पॉलिसी में कैसे इंटरफेरेंस कर सकती है?
My lord, I shall submit my stance on it, which is that it falls under the jurisdiction of executive to plan the policy, because they have everything. They have to analyze through hydrological analysis, through different procedures, through assessments and all those things. However, in this case, this executive policy, the policy which has been presented by the executive, this is harming the fundamental rights. Also,
ये चीज़ क्लियर करिए, इट्स नॉट अ पॉलिसी। एक गवर्नमेंट है, सिटिंग गवर्नमेंट है जहाँ पब्लिक रिप्रेजेंटेशन है, प्रोविंशियल असेंबली ने एक प्रोजेक्ट पास किया है, उसका बजट एलोकेट हुआ है और उसके बाद प्रॉपर उन्होंने इन्वायरमेंटल प्रोटेक्शन एजेंसी से NOCs भी लिए हैं, सारी चीज़ें एवेल्यूएट भी की हैं, उसके बाद ये प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट हुआ है। तो कैसे कह सकते हैं कि ये प्रोजेक्ट जो है वो राइट टू लाइफ को इफेक्ट करता है या सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम को इफेक्ट करता है?
yes, my lord, all the procedures were conducted, but they were conducted anonymously. There was no consent and there was no meaningful participation from the public. And from the Pakistan Environmental Protection Act, Section 12, subclause 3, if I shall recite it as well, it clearly states that every review of an environmental impact assessment shall be carried out with public participation, and no information will be disclosed during the course of such public participation which relates to this. In this we see that subclause 3 is a very essential part of this Section 12, even though it has been carried out by the federal agency and the competent authorities, all the procedures were followed, but even if public participation is not included in it, that renders it unconstitutional and illegal. Lastly, state holds natural resources like Swat River and forest in the public interest. Addressing my issue 4, court is the ultimate protector of the constitution. It must ensure that the trustee, the state, does not waste these resources for short-term gains. If all these are cleared, damage becomes irreversible. And the precautionary principle 15 of the declaration also says that courts must restrain policy to prevent the subject matter of case from being destroyed. That was all, Your Honor. Now my co-counsel shall be invited upon the stage if the court permits to address her issues 3 and 5.
May it pleases the Honorable Court, my name is Amra Shahbaz and I am appearing on behalf of the petitioner as the second speaker and co-counsel, and I would be addressing the issue number 3 and 5. May I proceed, Your Honor? The issue number 3 is that whether the doctrine of sustainable development and intergenerational equity is enforceable in Pakistan. May I proceed, Your Honor? Your Honor, I would like to divide this issue into 2 parts. The first would be sustainable development and the other would be intergenerational equity. The sustainable development, when we refer to sustainable development, is meeting the needs of today's people, but at the same time not harming the natural resources so that the coming generations can also use these resources to meet their own needs. Your Honor, there are 2 parts to avoid sustainable development. The first one is, does this project meet today's needs? Yes, Your Honor, that's electricity and we agree with that. The second was is, does it do so without harming the future generations? No, Your Honor. The mood problem itself says this: deforestation, destroyed wildlife habitats, and damaged ecologically sensitive zones. Your Honor, deforestation in a mountain region increases landslide risk. Landslide risk threatens human life, and that is Article number 9, violation of it. The second is, river diversion threatens water access, fisheries, agriculture, and the daily livelihoods of communities living on that river. That is again Article 9 and violation of it. So, by intergenerational equity means that we are ready to use the resources for the present generation, but at the same time, we want this court to take some measures by which the resources would be saved for the future generations, because, Your Honor, if they don't have these resources, they would be powerless. And we know that we have a lot of talented people in Pakistan and they can find a way.
ये आर्गूमेंट साहब के अगेंस्ट ही जाता है. अगर एक नेचुरल फ्लो बढ़ जा रहा है तो वो तो पानी ज़ाया हो जाएगा. तो जो आने वाली नस्ल है उसको प्रोटेक्ट कैसे हम करेंगे? अगर वाटर रिजर्व होंगे तो प्रोटेक्ट होगा.
Again, Your Honor, our submission is that we don't want this water to be wasted. What we want is to find a common ground where this water won't be wasted, but at the same time the environment would be protected. May I proceed towards my 5th issue? Your Honor, the 5th issue is about the displaced communities. The communities that are being displaced from their place, from the land where they have ancestral connections to, from the lands where they have their businesses, from the lands where they have their network and social interactions with everyone, and from the lands where even their ancestors are buried. So this is something that violates their right to dignity, and the government have only one answer to every issue raised about these displaced communities, and that's compensation. Your Honor, only compensation is not enough, because, and they also, if they do promise rehabilitation, Your Honor, in Tarbela Dam case, 96,000 people were displaced and they were promised rehabilitation, but still they haven't got their rehabilitation plan.
पूरी दुनिया के अंदर कोई भी मेगा प्रोजेक्ट नहीं होगा. चाइना इतने बड़े-बड़े डैम बना रहा है, इंडिया इतने ज़्यादा डैम बना रहा है, और इन्वायरमेंटल लॉ सबसे ज़्यादा कहते हैं, वो मतलब जोर इस चीज़ पे देता है कि डैम बनाएं, और आप इन्वायरमेंटल लॉ के अंदर ही आगे कह रहे हैं कि डैम बनाना है.
No, Your Honor, we are completely in agreement.
मतलब पूरी दुनिया के अंदर मेगा प्रोजेक्ट्स होते हैं, तो उसमें इन्वायरमेंट को भी एक्सपेक्ट को भी देखा जाता है, उसको प्रोटेक्ट भी किया जाता है, और उसके पैरेलल स्टेट की एक बेसिक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉ के अंदर कि उसने सोशल जस्टिस करना है, डेवलपमेंट करना है. और अगर हम 21वीं सदी के अंदर भी अगर डैम्स नहीं बनाएंगे तो आने वाली नस्लें तो हमारी वो प्यास ही मर जाएंगी.
Absolutely correct, Your Honor. We need to make dams, but again the same point that we want to find a common ground where the dams would be made, because we know we need the dams. The dams would be made, but at the same time there would be no deforestation, because Pakistan is at a very higher risk of deforestation. Your Honor, still we would like this thing that before continuing the project, the government needs to present us with a solid rehabilitation plan before they are taken out of their land. Now, I think I'm done with my prayers. Well, I have told my demands, so I've submitted my demands. So that's it.
May it please the court. Much obliged, Your Honor. My good afternoon to the honorable bench. My name is Asima Jawad Jalab, and I am the first counsel from the respondent side. followed by my co-counsel Abir Fatima and researcher Junaid Khan. I will be taking total of 11 minutes to address issue 1 and issue 2, and my co-counsel would be addressing the issue 3, 4, 5 in 12 minutes, while we respectfully reserve 2 minutes for rebuttals. Before I proceed with my pleadings, would the Honorable Bench require a brief summary of facts? Your Honor, coming towards the brief summary of facts, the respondent is the government of the province of KP and the petitioner is a Green Earth Society and NGO. Your Honor, the present case have the facts that in 2024, the government of KP actually approved the Swat Hydropower Development Project involving the construction of dam and power station, and that was done in order with the comprehensive environmental impact assessment, and it was done for the renewable energy. Your Honor, now the Green Earth Society initiated legal proceedings by filing a constitutional petition before the High Court of Peshawar onto the things that there was a violation of fundamental rights, there was environmental degradation, it lacked transparency, EIA was not done properly, and so on. The Peshawar High Court actually dismissed that petition, and it stated that the development project is under executive discretion, number 1. Secondly, the environment concerns had been adequately addressed. Now, the petitioner, aggrieved with the decision of the Peshawar High Court, has filed an appeal to the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Your Honor, shall I proceed with my submissions? Much obliged, Your Honor. Coming towards the first issue, which states that whether the Swat Hydropower Development Project violates the fundamental right to life under the Constitution of Pakistan or not. Your Honor, the respondent respectfully submits that there isn't any violation of the fundamental rights, including the right to life. The respondent would like to prove this into the 2 major arguments. Your Honor, coming towards the first argument, that is the Swat Hydro Development Project do not violate Article 9 and 9A. Your Honor, if we see Article 9, it gives the right to life and security of the person, followed by after 26th Amendment of the Constitution, Article 9A was expressly given. That tells that everyone should not just have the right to live, but to live in a healthy environment. Your Honor, in the present case, we cannot see any violation here, because the Swat Hydropower Project aimed at energy security, economic development, and sustainable electricity practices. The more facts expressly says
council project की approval से पहले आपने इसका PC1 feasibility report और general assessment, land evaluation ये सारे आपने permits पूरी की.
Much obliged, Your Honor. The respondent has completely fulfilled that, and we would be establishing that in issue 2.
Project के लिए आपको कितनी land required है? आपने कैसे land की evaluation करवाई?
Your Honor, that was done under the environmental impact assessment, which gives the power to the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Environmental Protection Act 2014, which gives actually the power to the EPA, that is the Environmental Protection Agency, that has to see all of these prerequisites, and they have to do evaluation, including what the land requirement is needed and if everything is followed respectively or not. Much obliged, Your Honor. The Environment Protection Agency and the people who are working there are there for the reason, and they will make sure that no one is actually like their land is not like they are not violated of their rights, and they'll make sure of that thing. If the Honorable Bench is satisfied, shall I proceed with the next sub-argument? Much obliged, Your Honor. If we see the Article 14 and 25, that the petitioner alleges that it has also been violated. Article 14 tells about inviolability of dignity of man. Article 25 says that all citizens are equal. Your Honor, I would like to refer the judgment of Tahir Nakash versus the state that my respondent would, my researcher would provide, and I will be telling that how this is not met and we cannot apply the same principle here. Your Honor, in this case, it was said that the right to dignity, in order to be violated, there should be 3 elements essential that needs to be established. Number 1, every member of the human family has a value, and if he is mistreated, abused or ignored. Secondly, each person's worth is equal and no one is superior. And thirdly, human dignity inheres in the human person and cannot be taken away. Your Honor, in the present case, there is no fact which says that the individuals must mistreated, the citizens were not giving the things. These are just the mere allegations of the petitioners, and if the Honorable Bench would refer to the moot proposition 2nd page, even if we ignore that, what the government is arguing, what the High Court, Peshawar High Court said that the government development project falls under the executive discretion and environment things were adequately addressed, thus ultimately proved there was no violation.
जी जो प्रोजेक्ट बनाने के लिए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आगे देंगे उसमें ट्रांसपेरेंसी कैसे लेके आएंगे?
Much obliged, Your Honor. That gets me to my second issue. That is about the whether failure to conduct the transparent and participatory environmental impact assessment invalidates the project approval or not. The council would be establishing that this does not invalidate in two arguments, and that would be telling ultimately that what are the statutes that fall under it and how it can be done. Your Honor, coming towards the first thing, the first sub-argument that says the respondent submits that there was a substantial compliance with the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Environmental Protection Act 2014. Your Honor, if we see the section 13 of this particular act, it gives the authority to review, condition and issue environmental approval, and it strictly resides with Environmental Protection Agency. Your Honor, we have to understand that if only the Environmental Protection Agency would proceed with it, then only the environmental assessment EIA would be done. And in the present case, this has been done. So the petitioner is saying that EIA was not done properly, and there is no actually proof of that. The public consultation was done, not done. The council is here to present that all the things were duly fulfilled. Your Honor, if the honorable bench, I would like to refer to the section 6 and 7 of the same act, which actually give legislature the mandate to evaluate condition and environmental clearances, and that is the part of the agency. Your Honor, public referendum is important, and as stated in the facts that it is not said that it was denied, but even if the bench says that or the petitioner alleges that, then again the public referendum do not have any veto power, because we can see in the history that separation of power exists, legislature, executive and judiciary. But in the past and in the present scenario in the Pakistan, all these organs work together. So it is not a reasonable thing to say that just because of the mere public consultation was not done, if that is the case, even if we're not agreeing to that, that should halt and stop the project. Your Honor, coming towards the international principles that will be addressed by my co-counsel in issue 3, 4, 5, that particularly tells us about if the international principles were followed, and she would be establishing that with the help of all the declarations which Pakistan has ratified and all of their sections. So it is the power of the state to examine and see what policy actually benefits the state and to maintain the higher good. And here I submit my pleadings. If the honorable bench is satisfied, I would like to call co-counsel, and if not, the counsel. It was an honor pleading before honorable bench. Thank you.
This is Abir Fatma Aisha Rashid, the second counsel on behalf of respondents, and I will be addressing issue 3, 4 and 5 respectively. The counsel seeks permission to proceed with issue number 3. Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, the issue number 3 is whether the doctrine of sustainable development and intergenerational equity is enforceable in Pakistan. Your Honor, the council completely agrees with this stance. The respondent respectfully submits that while doctrines of sustainable development and intergenerational equity are judicially recognized in Pakistan, they do not mandate environmental paralysis. Your Honor, I would like to refer to the Rio Declaration on Environmental and Development 1992, where the concept of intergenerational equity emerged. Your Honor, in the principle number 4, it says that in order to achieve sustainable development and environmental protection shall constitute to an integral part of development process and cannot be considered in isolation from it. Your Honor, according to principle number 4, we can see that we also have to keep a healthy environment for future generations, necessarily includes clean and affordable energy infrastructure. The SHDP's renewable hydroelectric project directly advances this constitutional guarantee. Your Honor, as the counsel from petitioner said that the state should go for any other ways they can produce energy, and there should be no deforestation. The council would like to say that stopping this project would compel future generations to rely on fossil fuels, thereby violating the very intergenerational equity the petitioner invokes. Your Honor, according to the intergenerational equity, the respondent submits that the future generations possess not merely environmental interests, but also the rights to economic stability, industrial growth, healthcare infrastructure, and reliable energy access. A nation that fails to invest in sustainable energy infrastructure today compromises the welfare of tomorrow's citizens. The respondent notes that energy poverty constitutes a form of economic wrath no less severe than ecological degradation. Your Honor, the hydropower constitutes an internationally accepted renewable energy initiative contributing to a climate mitigation and greenhouse gas reduction. Pakistan is filled with their own international experts, and according to Pakistan's Environmental Protection Act, as my co-counsel has also addressed this, that the environmental law in Pakistan has established a coordinated framework where federal authorities routinely delegate regulatory vetting powers to provincial organs to avoid administrative duplication, which means that we on ourselves have this power to assess our own environment and our own resources to check whether it is feasible.
पावर को तो हम नहीं चैलेंज कर रहे, हम कह रहे हैं कि आपकी पावर नहीं है। मैं इससे ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि आपने इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड्स के मुताबिक असेसमेंट करवाई है, किसी इंटरनेशनल एक्सपर्ट एजेंसी को हायर किया, या बात ये है कि आप गवर्नमेंट है, आपका ही इदारा अगर असेसमेंट करेगा तो वो बाइस होगा।
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, international principles were not violated. The EIA, according to the facts of the case, are conducted with proper procedure and with proper. The EIA was conducted according to the instructions, according to the law. So obviously, we would not violate, and as held by, as in the case of Peshawar High Court, which also gave decision on this case, they also said that EIA was conducted properly. Much obliged, Your Honor. May I proceed with issue number 5? Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, the respondent respectfully submits that displacement of local communities for the Swat hydropower project does not violate constitutional or human rights because there was no displacement occurred. There was only relocation that occurred, and relocation, when it occurs, it is duly compensated. The petitioners keep alleging that there was displacement, which is not in the facts and which is equal to misguiding this honorable bench and this honorable court. But the agreed fact says that there was relocation of these. Your Honor, Article 4 of Constitution guarantees that no action detrimental to persons shall be taken except in accordance with the law. The respondent submits that lawful displacement for a public purpose, energy generation serving millions, and is constitutionally permissible provided that the state demonstrates a genuine commitment. Your Honor, proceeding with my second argument, Principle 4 of Rio Declaration mandates environmental protection shall constitute integral part of development process. The respondent submits that this necessarily requires courts to balance localized displacement against broader societal benefits, including energy access for millions, employment generation, industrial growth, climate resilience, and through renewable energy. Your Honor, the principle of environmental justice requires equitable access to development and agency resources for broader populations. Pakistan's continuing electricity crisis disproportionately affects industries, hospitals, educational institutes, and most critically, economically disadvantaged communities who cannot afford a backup power. The SHDP seeks to remedy precisely these structural inequalities.
तो आया इस लोगों की इस पे असर पड़ती हैं कि नहीं पड़ती?
Yes, Your Honor, the facts do say that there's energy crisis, severe energy crisis, which means that if this project does not continue, the energy crisis will keep getting more and more and would affect the people. But it does not explicitly say that what amount of energy is needed or what amount of people will be affected by this. Much obliged, Your Honor. It is most humbly prayed before this Honorable Supreme Court to dismiss the petition claim and declare that Swat hydropower development project is constitutionally valid, declare the project approval valid, and hold that EIA and all regulatory approvals for SHDP were obtained, hold that sustainable development and intergenerational equity as recognized legal principles, they are actually they are actually not violated, hold that policies covering the SHDP fell within the primary competence of this executive burden, declare that incidental localized relocation of communities for vital public utility project does not amount to constitutional injury or right, award costs to the defense of respondent, and any other remedy that this honorable court may deem fit.
यहाँ लर्निंग प्रोसेस में मैंने स्टार्ट में बताया था कि पर्सनल अटैक नहीं करते, बस फ्रेंड कोलीग रिस्पेक्ट के साथ एक एक दूसरी पार्टी की आर्गूमेंट्स, तो लर्निंग कौन सा को अटैक नहीं करती, इट्स अगेंस्ट द परफेक्शन एथिक्स।
No worries, Your Honor. The council was just saying learned opposing counsel, and it was meant to the whole the party there. But we apologize if it came in that way. Your Honor, they said under what authority? The authority is Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Environmental Protection Act 2014, Section 6 and 7, which gives that power that agency EPA has to do that, EIA has to be done. Your Honor, second thing again, public consultation was not done. Your Honor, the second page of the moot proposition, second bullet point says where proper approval and EIA procedures were followed. Again, they were followed. So we would not like just to repeat it again and again. And lastly, about the displacement, they said it was not a displacement, it was a relocation. They have been compensated, and if they have any grievances, the respondent assures that they will be given the due compensation. Lastly, Your Honor, about the embezzlement of the funds. Your Honor, the EPA, these agencies are here for this reason, to make sure that there is transparency into the procedures. And if that is not the case, the respondents are not denying that they would not allow the court, because ultimately it is the power of the respectable court to decide it. In the present case, we cannot see any facts that says that embezzlement was done. There was a malified intent. That is it, Your Honor. The respondent respectfully submits their case to the Honorable Bench. Pleasure, Your Honor. Thank you.
We direct the government to give a right of audience to the petitioner, have their concern, and then, in the light of the relevant rules and laws on the subject, shall proceed with the project. So this is order of President. I am very much impressed, too much impressed, by the arguments of the learned counsel of this side and of that side. During my career as a lawyer and as a judge, I have seldom come across such like arguments presented before the court. So I appreciate both of you and would recommend to the management to write a letter of appreciation to the respective institution of the students they hail from. I can validly say that your arguments and your arguments can be equally equated with the arguments which are being addressed even before the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Further, I would recommend to you to have or develop a critical thinking in you. You see, when any event take place either at the national level or at the international level, you see its causes, that what for the evidence why the event took place. You analyze it critically. Don't follow it that someone says that this action is good, other says the action is bad. No, you apply your own mind critically, have critical thinking in your body, in your mind, analyze it scientifically, any event.
तो ये जो हमने रिज़ल्ट को एवेलुएट किया है वो इसी पैरामीटर्स की बेस पे किया है कि टीम ए या टीम बी का फैक्ट्स के ऊपर कितनी ग्रिप है, लॉ के ऊपर कितनी ग्रिप है, और अपने आर्गूमेंट्स उन्होंने लॉजिकली कितने किए हैं, और उन्होंने कोर्ट के क्वेश्चंस को रिस्पॉन्स कैसे किया है, और उनमें शार्पनेस कितनी है, आर्ट ऑफ एडवोकेसी कितनी है, और प्रेशर को अब्जॉर्व करने की कैपेसिटी कितनी है। ये सारी चीज़ें थी जिनको हमने एवेलुएट किया है, और उसके बाद अपना रिज़ल्ट हम फॉर्मल आपको अनाउंस कर रहे हैं। तो जो टीम है YS272 उन्होंने फ़ाइनल के अंदर 493 मार्क्स स्कोर किए हैं, और जो विनिंग टीम है AJ076 उन्होंने 532 मार्क्स स्कोर किए हैं। तो विनिंग टीम को मैं दोबारा कंग्रेचुलेट करता हूँ, और दूसरों के लिए एप्रिशिएशन फॉर नेक्स्ट टाइम। आप लोगों ने भी बहुत अच्छा परफॉर्म किया। थैंक यू सो मच।